Hi, welcome to Wild Child Wellness, where we discuss natural remedies for common childhood symptoms and when to seek medical attention. I'm Julie DeVono, and I have 30 years experience in medicinal herbalism and pediatric medicine. Just a reminder, these videos are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for medical advice from a trusted medical provider, so you want to get yourself one of those. So today I'd like to talk about something that I just put on my Etsy shop. It's newly available. It's just something that I just put together. So it's a beautiful summer day here in the mountains, and I thought I'd invite you all to a tea party. This is my Wild Child Wellness tea party. And what this is like, it's a sampler of 6 small sizes of the most popular teas that I have available on my Etsy shop. I don't know about you, but I'm a sucker for like a little sample set or a little variety set of something. If I'm out and about shopping somewhere and they have like a little variety box of samples of different things, I'm just a sucker for that. I love those. This is also a great gift for someone who you think may be starting to get interested in medicinal herbalism or natural remedies, but they're not quite sure where to start. Or it would make a pretty good gift, especially maybe a baby shower gift, although the teas aren't appropriate until 6 months of age. You know, one of the thoughtful things to do for a baby shower is to give gifts that aren't necessarily just for the first couple of weeks for that newborn phase. I know when I had my baby shower many, many years ago for my son, it was really thoughtful that I received gifts that were clothing sizes or diaper sizes or things up to even a year of age, 2 years of age. That was really helpful. So even though this wouldn't be appropriate until 6 months and up, I still think it would make a great baby shower gift. So let's do an unboxing today and dive in and talk about what's in here. So it comes in this little plastic travel bag. And, one of the things is that I put in here that's really helpful, I think, is there's the ingredient list. So this is, what the front looks like. And then on the back of this card, it lists each tea and what herbs are in the tea, so what the ingredients are. That way, if somebody has an allergy or a sensitivity, they know what they're putting into their body and they know to avoid it. So that's helpful. There's also a couple little links for self-promotion's sake up to my YouTube channel and the book I have on Amazon and, stuff like that. And then there's this card, which is also in the bag. And this card has recipes and instructions for how to use the teas to make other types of products. It's tough because I call it tea. I can't really think of a better word to describe it. But really what these are is like a base product that you can use to make other natural remedies, sort of like a do-it-yourself. Kind of like when you buy like a soup base, it's just the bag of the dried soup herbs and spices and products, and then you add to it to kind of, make it however you want to. And it's kind of the same thing with these. I call it tea because I don't quite know what else to call it. You can certainly make tea with it, but you can also use these products to make your own homemade medicinal herbal cough syrup using honey. You can make tinctures using different types of base alcohol. You can even make broths with some of them. There's all of these instructions here on the recipe card. So there's instructions to make a tea or a broth, which is relatively simple, but it's there. And it has the instructions for how to make a syrup. So if you think that some of these teas might be easier to give to your child or easier to take in a syrup form, you can use agave syrup or honey. Honey if your child is over 2. If they're younger than 2, avoid honey. Maybe the agave syrup would be a good option. I think that would be a good choice. And you can make a syrup. That way you don't have to get them to drink a whole cup of tea, and it might be a little bit easier because the syrup is sweet. Like Mary Poppins said, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. there's also instructions here for how to make a tincture. So if you want to make a product that's got the ingredients of the tea, but in a really concentrated form, so that instead of giving a whole cup or a couple of spoonfuls, you only need to give a couple drops, then you would want to make a tincture. A tincture is an ultra concentrated extract from dried herbs, or even fresh herbs sometimes, but they're usually made with dry herbs. And it uses an alcohol or a glycerin to extract the maximum amount of components of effective ingredients out of that tea. So you only have to put a couple of drops in, you can put a couple of drops in juice or water, or a tea that has a pleasant flavor that you like. Or you could just put the drops under your tongue. You're probably already familiar with tinctures, but the instructions for how to make a tincture is on here as well. And then I also put the dosing instructions based on weight, because, one of the things I see missing in, whenever you're looking at books or websites or information for medicinal herbalism, is it always seems to be geared towards adults. It's very hard to find information geared towards children. But of course, we know that you wouldn't give your child, your 30-pound child, the same adult dose of Tylenol. So why would you want to give them the same amount of a medicinal herbal remedy? So this is based on weight. These are general guidelines. And it gives you just kind of a ballpark idea of how much to cut the dose based on the child's weight. And the way that it's done in medicinal herbalism is it's based on the adult dose. So for example, if you have a child between 50 and 60 pounds, you would give them a third of the adult dose. So if you have a tea, you would give a third of a cup instead of a cup. If you have syrup, the adult dose is usually 2 teaspoons. You would cut that by a third. It might take a little bit of math, but that's okay. You can figure it out. I have faith in you. And, for like 20 to 50 pounds, it would be a fourth of an adult dose. So you'd give a quarter of a cup or half a teaspoon, general, but at least it's some guidelines. It's not perfect as far as doing most of the math for you, but it at least allows you to get an idea of how much to give your child. The good thing about medicinal herbalism, especially these ingredients, which are geared towards being safe for children, it doesn't mean you can't use it as an adult. I get that question a lot. I'll say, well, if this tea is for children, can I use it too? Yes, it's perfectly safe for adults, perfectly effective and useful for adults. By saying it's for children, what I mean is that all of the ingredients are child safe, because some herbs in medicinal herbalism I would not feel comfortable giving to a child. Like for example, St. John's wort is often used for anxiety and depression, but it's also a blood thinner. So I wouldn't want to play around with things like that with kids. That's just me in any way. And it's probably you too. But this card is included in the Tea Party gift set. So I'm just going to touch on which teas are included. Like I said, these are the most popular blends that that I have available. So I thought it would be good to have a variety box with the things that most people want. This one is probably the most popular. This is the Sleepy Tea, and this has a recipe that includes lavender, chamomile, passion flower, and lemon balm. So the ingredients lists will tell you what's in it, because that's important to know. What's proprietary, and what that word means is what I can keep private, is the actual recipe or the ratios. Because obviously, if I'm trying to make a living doing this, I don't want to give all the information away for free, because then I won't be able to make a living. So it lets you know what's in it. The ratios are the recipe that I have. But you'll know if there's something that you're allergic to or sensitive, then you would know to avoid it. So this tea is good to help you calm down at night. It helps you fall asleep more easily. It's a blend of herbs that have calming, sleepiness properties, for lack of a better word. Sleepiness properties? Why not? This one, and this one actually tastes good. So that's kind of a nice side effect. The Sleepy Tea, you can give it as a tea. It tastes great. It's naturally sweet and minty. So you shouldn't have a problem taking that or giving it to your child. This one I put in because it's particularly popular right now. This is the allergy relief tea. And, of course, we are in the time of year where allergies are a big problem. And over the years, environmental allergies, especially outdoor environmental allergies, have only been getting stronger and stronger. You're not crazy if you think allergy seasons are getting worse every year. They are. There's a lot of reasons for that are scientific based, that have to do with decisions made with public landscaping spaces over the years. Governments and even a lot of private homeowners have been opting for male trees as opposed to female trees, because the male trees don't drop seeds that you have to clean up afterwards. So, whoever thought there'd be misogyny in nature, but those female trees are too messy to clean up after. So over the years, where Mother Nature had a 50-50 balance of male and female trees, a lot of private landscapers and public government landscaping plans have included more male trees and less female trees. So, now we have an imbalance in nature. And since male trees produce more pollen, instead of having a 50-50% amount of pollen, we now have like 80% more pollen. Anyway, that's kind of going down a sidetrack. I just like to give information when I say something like, yeah, allergies really are getting worse. They really are, but I like to tell you why, so you know that I'm not just making it up. Anyway, this has stinging nettle, which is a great herbal antihistamine. It's got mullein, butterbur, sea buckthorn, perilla, and ginger. And all of those things in combination, some of those herbs are antihistamines, some of those herbs are anti-inflammatories, and some of those herbs particularly the mullein, is good for decreasing mucus production. So all of those three things combined will help relieve your allergy symptoms. This one doesn't taste too bad either. Some people prefer to make it in a syrup base. Some people just drink it as a tea. I think the tea may actually work a little better because the ginger that's in it will help with constricting the blood vessels in your nasal passages and your respiratory tract, so you feel like you can breathe a little more easily. And just breathing the steam that's coming off the tea and getting that ginger smell will help with that too. And I guess, you could even make it into an ointment for a rub, but there's probably better recipes for that. Now, this is the Immune Boost tea. This one was really more popular during cold and flu season, but the teas in these glass jars last a long time. So you might be using more of the allergy tea now, but in a couple months you may want the Immune Boost tea. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but we're only a couple of months away from back to school season. And we know the first couple of weeks of school in September are always tough with kids getting sick and the adults around them getting sick. So you may want to start boosting your immune system. I usually recommend the last week of August, start boosting your immune system so that you're ready for the start of school season. This would be a great product for that. It has a blend of elderberry, dried elderberries to extract the elderberry out of the dried elderberries more easily. And it's got echinacea, which we all know is great for boosting the immune system, astragalus, cinnamon, paprika, and turmeric. Now, when I made this recipe, when I make all these recipes, I don't really pay as much attention to the flavor as maybe I should, because the way that I look at it is these teas are for medicinal purposes. If you just want to have a cup of pleasant tasting tea to relax, there's a lot of choices out there. These teas are for medicinal purposes, so that means that there's not so much a focus on how it tastes, more a focus on effectiveness. So I certainly wouldn't want, and I don't think you would want me to avoid certain ingredients because they may not taste great together, even if I know that that combination is going to be more effective. And that's what happened with this. The elderberry is kind of sweet, but then you've got the turmeric, which is spicy, and you've got the cinnamon, which is cinnamony, and the paprika, which is spicy. So the flavor is kind of all over the place. However, what I found is because the dominant flavors are savory, being the turmeric and the paprika, that this tea may actually work much better if you make it as a broth. So what that means is you would brew it just like you would tea, but instead of using plain water, you could throw in a chicken bouillon cube or a vegetable bouillon cube, and you'll be drinking it more as a broth. Maybe it's something psychological that when you are drinking something that you know is supposed to be tea, you expect a certain flavor, but when you're drinking something that you know is a broth, it tastes good to you more as a broth because that's what you expect. Anyway, this is a tea that I find is easier to give and take as a broth. And of course, you can also throw some rice or some pasta noodles or some pieces of chicken. I mean, you can make it a whole soup, but using this as the base will also boost your immune system, give you that extra protection from getting sick. So that's that one. Now, this one is the cough tea. I could probably use a little bit of that myself today because these allergies are really getting to me. So I might mix a little bit of the allergy tea with this cough tea. On a hot day like this, maybe I'll make it into like an iced tea or something. I don't know. But the cough tea is, what it says. It's good for cough. This one, it doesn't taste that terrible, but because we, think of cough syrups as opposed to cough teas, using this base to make a syrup with honey or agave syrup, it's just how we're used to taking cough reliever. So you take a couple teaspoons, you use this to make a good natural cough syrup, keep it in the refrigerator, and when you have a cough, take a couple spoonfuls of it, and it'll help relieve your cough. It's got cherry bark, which is a very well-known natural cough suppressant, and it's got pineapple powder. Pineapple has bromelain in it, which is an excellent chest expectorant. So this would be like you would use pineapple extract the way that you would take like a Mucinex or some kind of like expectorant. So it helps consolidate the mucus so it's easier to cough up. And then you've got thyme, which is a great cough suppressant, slippery elm, and marshmallow root. And the slippery elm and the marshmallow root are also more of what are called mucophages. And the mucophage means it helps decrease the mucus and it helps consolidate the mucus so it's easier to cough up. So it helps with chest congestion. So there's two different things going on here. There's the cough suppressant, and then there's also the relief of the chest congestion. So you got different herbs doing different things mixing together for this. So this is a really good recipe for cough. 2 more to go. Now, this is the sore throat tea that is particularly good during strep throat season, which is usually around Easter. People who work in the medical field know that the Easter Bunny brings strep in his Easter basket because that's when we get the biggest outbreaks of strep throat, when we're going through boxes of strep tests. And this tea is particularly good at relieving those strep symptoms of sore throat because it's got chamomile and peppermint, which are both anti-inflammatories. And those also taste good. So this might not taste bad as, actually it doesn't taste, I've used it, it doesn't taste bad as a tea at all. And then the primary ingredient in this is licorice root. That doesn't taste terrible either if you like licorice root or if you like the taste of licorice. So making this as a tea is probably the best way to take it. Although it would be really good as a syrup too, because when you have a sore throat, the honey or the agave syrup soothes the irritation in your throat as well. So either ways, this would work well for that. The licorice root, they've actually done research studies to show licorice root can be as effective at preventing and even, clearing strep before it sets in. It wouldn't be used to treat strep throat. If you have strep throat, you need to go to you need to get an antibiotic because untreated strep has serious consequences. But if you're exposed to a lot of strep throat around you and you're starting to feel like you might be getting some irritation in your throat, this could help maybe stave it off and prevent it from setting in. So it works really good for that. And that's why it's handy to have. And even though right now I'm filming this video in the summer, I sometimes forget that these videos could, they go on forever. You could be watching this 5 years from now in the middle of winter, and it might be coming up on strep season. But the good thing is the dried herbs mixed together, the teas in a glass jar, it'll last you a couple of years if it's kept in a cool, dark, dry place. So you could hold on to this until that time of year and it'll still be useful. And then this last tea is a newer recipe that I came up with. And this is just called poop tea. It's self-explanatory. So this is tea that I formulated for children, especially babies, that are having a hard time pooping. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Babies have a lot of different reasons why they struggle to poop sometimes, but this tea will relieve that. Although if you're an adult, you need help pooping, that'll work for you too. But I also added some ingredients to help with just general overall colic symptoms, because when a young child or a baby is struggling to poop, they also get a lot of colicky symptoms. So this has some ingredients to help them poop and some ingredients to help with the gassiness and the colicky symptoms that come along with it. Just because what you really want to do is just relieve their suffering. So there's more than one reason for them to be suffering when they can't poop, and the colic and the gas is part of that. So it's got the chamomile, which is an anti-spasmodic for the stomach, for the gut. So it helps relieve the colic symptoms. And that's why if you buy any other natural colic products like Colic Calm or gripe water, chamomile is always one of the most common ingredients. But this combines the chamomile with slippery elm. And what slippery elm does is it's a mucophage, which means, like I talked about, because it's also an ingredient in the coffee. So what it does is it helps draw mucus out of the places it shouldn't and put it in the places it should. Like, it draws the mucus out of maybe your chest and puts it in the intestines. Well, that mucus in the intestines helps soften the stool. So the slippery elm works as a great stool softener, because if your child's constipated and they're struggling to go, you want to get that poop softened up a little bit so they can pass it more easily. And then of course the senna is the laxative property. So senna is probably the most well-known natural remedy as a to help people go to the bathroom. It's probably the most widely known medicinal herbal laxative on the market. And if you buy any other products for that, like even like Smooth Move tea or Senecot, it's called Senecot because it's got senna in it. So this is a child-safe source of senna combined with those other ingredients to help with the process. So that's in there too, which is why I think it makes a pretty good baby shower gift, because 6 months is when these teas are safe to use, and 6 months is also when babies start getting introduced to solid food. And one of the results of that process is they usually struggle with a little bit of constipation, because they're going from a liquid diet to a solid diet. And so the poops get a little bit more firm, and they don't have the muscle strength in their gut yet. They're working through it. They get stronger by doing that. So 6 months is a really big age where, kids, babies will struggle with this. So that's that. And so the kit, the tea party kit has these 6 teas in the smaller jars, but based on advice that I've gotten from emails from you guys, a lot of people have said, well, I am used to tea that comes in tea bags. I don't know with loose tea, what do I need to use for that? How do I use that? So I included this. I found this adorable little tea strainer. And, there's lots of different tea strainers, but I liked this one because it's heart-shaped and it's got that rose gold pink color. So it's really cute. I just think these are adorable. And it's on a little chain. So what you do is you open up, it's got a little clip on the top. You open up the tea strainer and you put your tea inside, and then you close it, and it snaps closed. It snaps closed. This one, I got it. There we go. And then it's got a little hook with a chain, so you just hang it on the edge of the teacup. So you can just hang it right there, and it'll hang into the teacup and it'll infuse. And then when you're done, you can pull it out, shake it off, dump out the tea, wash it, and it's ready for next time. So this is included in the tea set. So now on my Etsy shop, these teas, the 2-ounce jars go for $8 a piece. I do have 4-ounce jars available as well, and those are $14. And the little 2-ounce jars go in there as well. If you were to buy all 6 of these, it would come to $48. So this tea set is available for $42. So it's like getting 1 jar free. Whatever jar you decide you think is the free one, I'm okay with that. So it's like getting one jar free, and of course it's like getting the cute little tea strainer free. And you know, I'm really excited about this product because I just think it's just really cute, and I think it'd make a great gift. So you can check out my Etsy shop and you can buy it from there. You can email me if you want as well, but it is available on my Etsy shop. And I hope you all find it really helpful and kind of fun. So thanks for coming to my tea party. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Remember, it's always a beautiful day no matter what kind of day it is. So get out there and enjoy it, and stay well. Bye.